Cool. So quick intro, I'm Adi. I'm not really a developer, but yeah, so I'm a product manager, and I spend most of my time just building products, right? So yeah, so I actually don't look like that anymore, as you can see. So that was like an old picture that I shared with my team, and yeah, I just use it everywhere. It's been a while since I looked like that, but yeah, I just guess now I'm a little older. So yeah, so moving on, right? Like just to set some, just to break the ice. So quick show of hands, right? Just like 1 out of 5. How do you like today so far? Like quick show of hands, guys. Come on. Like just out of 5. Like how do you think today has been doing? Come on, just like 4, 3, 5, 2. I can see some 2s. No, okay. Everything's like a 4 or a 5. Amazing. Like. Okay. I mean, I think, so initially this was supposed to be summer Velu, but I think today has been like raining like crazy, so it's summer mare, right? How was lunch, guys? Come on, out of 5. How was lunch? Okay, I can see a lot of 1s up there, guys. Yeah. But lunch I saapidla because it was too crowded, but yeah. So this one I think I'm expecting all 5s. How are the other talks, guys? Come on. I think we have some amazing talks here. All are 5. All right. So at the end of this talk, I'm going to ask like how my talk was. So I'm expecting all of you are going to show 5s. So all right. So just to set some quick agenda, I mean, this is not going to be a boring meeting. It's going to be like more of a quick lightning talk. But still, I just want to give you guys some context on what we're going to be talking about. So we'll start off with what developer experience is and how we think that it equals to Devops experience, right? I'm sure like we're all familiar with what developer experience is, and we'll also like quickly brief you into what Devops experience looks like. We'll give you an insight into what platform engineering is, and also like the crux of the talk, which is what really is first principle product building and how it looks like. Right. So I think, so how many of you here are developers? Come on, again, quick show of hands. All right. So I think a lot of us have, heard this word everywhere. Like it's become used so much that I feel like, it's like spam now. Like everybody is talking about developer experience, right? You can see everybody is moving towards developer experience. Like the reason why this is so popular is because developers do some like insane work, or I would say one of the most core functions in a company, right? So even a small impact or a small change in your developer experience can really like shift productivity and can shift huge business metrics within a company. And I think this is why developer experience is such a famous, and everybody loves talking about developer experience or optimizing for this especially. But as you can see, I'm like the DevOps guy who's gonna, run the other way. I'm gonna talk about DevOps experience. So yeah, before we go into like what DevOps experience is, right? So I think some of you might have, felt this or faced this. I just wanted to quickly just talk about this. So as a developer, I think a lot of us have like waited through endless queues and tickets for like an infrastructure request, right? Like I'm sending a ticket to my DevOps guy saying, hey, this is what I want. I fill a Jira ticket and then I wait 2 weeks before I can even start developing. This is something I think a lot of us face, right? A lot of developers that I've spoken to personally have faced this, and they really are annoyed by this itself, right? What about release days, right? Release days are usually filled with anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, and even like to a point where like some people are not allowed to take offs during that weekend. It's usually a very high stress environment, and that's not how it's supposed to be like, but that's the sad truth that at a lot of places it is like this. And that feeling when you're like really in the zone writing some really good code and then you have to interrupt so that you can file a DevOps ticket. Yeah, that's another sort of classic scenario that I've seen as well. And again, this is something that I think a couple of us might be guilty of, which is the not so secret management itself, right? We all know that how important secrets are, but usually secrets management is not so secure, right? We're not following the best practices here. And yeah, that's the, the not so secret management part. And I don't know if this, like, you guys have dealt with like multiple config files, and then you go to your DevOps guy, or you have a chat internally saying, texting this one guy saying, which config file was it again? Like, you're not really sure about which config file you're actually dealing with, and just going around confused and a lack of clarity and asking this. And also, like, out of the developers who raised your hands here, how many of you have been like forced to wear multiple hats? Like, you probably are just like a front end or a back end dev, but like doing some full stack work, or like doing some infra work. So how many of you here have actually dealt with some infra work? Quick show of hands. All right. So yeah, so that's one other problem where developers are forced to wear multiple hats. But, like, this is something that I'm complaining about, but what do developers actually need? Like, what do we need, right? Is it more coffee? Or like, how many guys vote for more coffee? Come on, quick show of hands. Nobody wants coffee here? Fuck. Okay. I don't know if I was allowed to swear, I'm sorry. No more stand-ups. Okay, I run stand-up, so I think I'm guilty of this, but yeah. Less bugs, I mean, come on, like, all of us would like less bugs, right? Come on, everybody, quick show of hands. Is there somebody who votes for more bugs? No, okay, obviously not. No more Jira. How many of you hate Jira? I can see like some people like showing 2 hands up there, but yeah. So, what developers actually need, and what I believe is they need something called platform engineering, right? So what is platform engineering, right? So platform engineering is a world where developers and DevOps work together on a single platform, right? This would essentially like turn your infrastructure into something that's not so black boxed, but like Lego pieces, right? All of you would have access to this, and you could just like snap them together and build something for yourself, right? You're not waiting on your DevOps team anymore. You just have access to it and you can build it, right? Building Lego is pretty easy, right? You just have to start building it, and you can actually build something super complex if you have the right pieces. You have infrastructure as code by default, right? It's not something that you have to actually learn how to do or like set up. You actually have it from day one. Like, you have infrastructure as code, you have Terraform, so that you can spin up environments super quickly, right? And you're not waiting on a ticket, or you're not waiting 2 weeks to do this. Also, something else that platform engineering would offer developers is it automates the entire provision, deployment, scaling, and monitoring of your applications across all your cloud or like complex multi-cloud setups, right? It's not going to be, again, very black boxed. Rather, it's going to be completely automated. So this is how platform engineering looks like. I'm also like happy to take any questions like for a minute or two. If you guys want to stop me at any point, just quick show of hands and I'll just take it. But yeah, so just to show you guys, so this is where most of us operate, right? Like, a lot of us, I'm assuming, are either product or service teams that is working on the core business or the core business code, right? And this is where the infrastructure or DevOps teams would be, right? So all the infrastructure complexity would lie here, and the infrastructure team would sort of serve as like the product team, or like they would build the platform itself. And this would be sort of the platform or the portal they would build. And this would have reusable components, which would be your infrastructure as code, right? So this would be those Lego blocks, these Lego blocks that you can reuse again. And this comes with tool integrations, like this could be your monitoring tools, your Prometheus, your alerting tools that come in from day one that you can just use. And this also comes with knowledge. So by knowledge, what we mean is, how many of you actually know what your architecture setup at your current organization looks like? Quick show of hands. Yep, I can see only two. But yeah, so this is something that is again like very sort of, it's again like inside a box that nobody ever sees. Like somebody wrote a document about it once and then it's just gone away. Or it's only accessible to a bunch of senior guys, right? So this knowledge becomes accessible to all developers with a platform, right? You would always know what your setup looks like, and this is actually something that should be democratized and available to all, so that it makes sense while you are developing applications or you're provisioning infrastructure itself. So the infrastructure is here, this is the platform, and these are the teams. So platform teams would be responsible for maintaining the platform, and product teams would operate here using the platform itself, right? So this is what a platform engineering setup would ideally look like. So coming to the bit of how we usually build products based on first principles itself, right? So platform engineering is a very new space, and building product or building a platform there is super tricky, right? So we actually don't follow these popular frameworks. Rather, we use first principles, right? So when we say first principles, it's actually looking into what developers want, right? So the first thing is self-service. So by self-service, we mean that developers should just focus on doing the most important task, which is writing code, right? Writing your business code, and not running around and managing infrastructure, right? Because I'm pretty sure not a lot of us like just, managing it, like dealing with breaking infrastructure or spending a lot of our time managing infrastructure itself. Another thing is we know what our applications need best, right? And we should have the ability to configure it by ourselves rather than, being very transactional with our DevOps team and asking them to do this for us, and that takes, again, a long time. So we know our configs best, so with self-service, we can configure this on our own. Another thing is observability, right? In terms of observability, understanding actually what's happening with your application is super important, right? If you actually don't have the right access or the right tools built for observability, you actually don't know where things are breaking, right? So this is again like a core part of what we build, and we understand that this is super important for developers, and this is another first principle that we follow when we say observability and understanding the system behavior for the developers itself is super important. And this is why while we build product, we make sure that observability is actually baked in from day 0 or day 1, so that you actually don't have to spend separate time setting this up, right? So if it's like Grafana or Loki, or if you want a Prometheus alert setup, you don't have to configure this on your own. Rather, you would be able to set it up. It's already set up, and you just have to access it from day 0 itself, right? Another thing is, I think some of us might have faced this, is where like development staging and production are not identical, right? So this should always be identical, and this would come from using a platform like this, right? So while using a platform, you would have a single source of truth, right? Which we were talking about the architecture, right? And this architecture would help you, so having access to this architecture would help you like maintain identical development, staging, and production environments. And this is a huge delta for you, obviously, in your productivity, in unblocking you from a lot of your deployment burdens, etc. So basically, like these are some of the first principles that we use, and all these are definitely achievable if organizations follow platform engineering itself. So yeah, so again, like a quick, in terms of just product management and how we do it at Facets is, so since it's like a relatively new space, right? There is no like, so if you look at marketing automation, right? There are like great players. There's HubSpot. There's a couple of other players. None of them are coming to my mind right now. But there are these guys who you can look up to and say, these guys are the North Star in this space. So I know that email automation, this is how it's going to be done. So I just have to do like make slight tweaks and make it better. So I have frameworks to follow. I have metrics that are already defined, and I just need to make small tweaks. But when it comes to like a product that is not yet, is not yet adopted, or is like, I would say, still in our, still early product market fit sort of phase, we can't follow famous frameworks like R or working backwards or North Star. None of it is actually defined. There is no playbook. There is no books that where you can read like this is how you should actually build products. So a lot of our innovation actually comes from just first principles, right? Like just breaking it down, like asking really, really simple questions, like again and again, like why? Just the simple question like why, what, and how. And it might sound very cliched when we say first principles, because I think first principles has been used a lot everywhere. But this is literally what we do, right? But yeah, so eating our own dog food, right? So this is something that again I think is something that we do all the time, because we have a team of around like 30 odd developers, right? And the cool part here is Facets, our product actually runs on Facets itself, right? So dog fooding like actually helps improve the product so much, because a lot of our innovation or a lot of our users are actually within our office, right? So if I need any insights, I can just talk to my engineers, right? Because we are using our product day in and day out. So dog fooding actually helps you build the product, and that's true for every developer tool, right? Like if you're building a developer tool and your developers are not using it, then you're failing already, right? So dog fooding is a huge part of how we build our products. I mean, some of our developers are obviously not going to agree that we build the features that they want, but still we really prioritize it. We talk to our developers and we make sure that, that we eat our own dog food. And another thing that comes with this is having regular, internal user testing sessions. So we make sure that every time we're shipping a new feature or a major upgrade, it is heavily like tested internally by internal users, which is our developers again, right? So this ensures that, even before it goes out to our customers, there's a lot of feedback that comes from using the product internally, and only after our internal team is satisfied, that's when we actually ship it, right? So this is like sort of an insight onto how we build product or platform at Facets. Yep. So if you guys have any questions, I don't know if I'm running late, but if you guys have any questions, quick show of hands, and I'll just give you the mic. Or yep. Any questions, guys? Quick show of hands. All right. So again, now I have a question. So how do you guys rate this talk out of 5? Come on. All right. I mean, you guys can still do 1s or 2s. All right. Cool, guys. Thanks. If you guys want some goodies, you can feel free to scan this QR and we'll ship you some guys some goodies. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to my talk. Yeah.